Well, apparently it takes 36 minutes longer for the Skittles and Mountain Dew to take effect on President Joe Biden than his White House staff anticipated. The old boy was supposed to finish his tapioca and his Mannix rerun on MeTV and come out and address campus unrest and riots at 10:30 this morning. It's 11:06 and still no president prepared statement. But we will monitor the situation here on a Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. And we will take you live, which will make you and me the only live people in the conversation when the president comes out to speak today about something he last spoke about. Are you ready for this? 10 days ago. 10 days ago was the last time Joe Biden, out of his own mouth, not prepared statements, not surrogates, 10 days ago is the last time Joe Biden spoke. It's the only time he spoken about campus unrest. And that was only when a question was shouted at him and he both sides the issue. I condemn the people who are protesting and taking buildings, against the law. And I certainly condemn those who don't have sympathy with the refugees in Palestine because I want to be president. Well, I guess I'm adding this last part. I want to be president so bad that I can't find any moral clarity, but I will find a moral equivalency between people who have placed in power bloodthirsty, anti-Semitic, genocidal terrorists for the better part of 2 decades and innocent Israeli teenagers going to a concert who were murdered, all in the name of genocide and a false god. That's Joe Biden's position on the issue. So maybe give the boy another Red Bull, and when he comes out, we'll let you know. If you're looking for a good president, well, let's go to the bad president first. Here is Joe Biden, apparently, I don't think it's a holograph, but we're waiting for Fox to take the coverage. Here we go.
Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues.
But not on January 6th.
But neither are we a lawless country. We're a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking and freedom-loving nation.
He's reading this off the prompter. It's not coming from his heart.
Always those who rush in to score political points. But this isn't a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity. So let me be clear. Protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest. Threatening people, intimidating people, instilling fear in people is not peaceful protest. It's against the law. Dissent is essential to democracy, but dissent must never lead to disorder or to denying the rights of others so students can finish the semester and their college education. Look, it's basically a matter of fairness. It's a matter of what's right. There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos. People have the right to get an education, the right to get a degree, the right to walk across the campus safely without fear of being attacked. But let's be clear about this as well. There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students. There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans.
There's none of that going on at the end.
Wrong. There's no place for racism in America. It's all wrong. It's un-American. I understand people have strong feelings and deep convictions. In America, we respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. But it doesn't mean anything goes. It needs to be done without violence, without destruction, without hate, and within the law. You know, make no mistake, as president, I will always defend free speech.
Oh, sure.
Rule of law. That's my responsibility to you, the American people, my obligation to the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, has the protest forced you to reconsider any of the policies with regard to the region?
No. Thank
Mr.
you.
President, do you think the National Guard should intervene?
No.
Mr. President, do you agree with
And there he goes, walking away. Took one question. He took one question. That's all he can take. One question. Get out of there, Joe. Shepherd's crook for you. Interesting. His comments were actually pretty good. But boy, things have changed since the summer of 2020, haven't they? Vandalism will not be tolerated. Intimidation, broken windows. Gee, I don't know. Did any of that happen during the George Floyd protests? Happened during January 6th. Joe Biden very upset about it. Benny Johnson, Liz Cheney, lots of them very, very upset about that. Not so much when Black Lives Matter staged protests in the aftermath of George Floyd's death in Minneapolis. Now, Joe Biden says he will always defend free speech. Really? That's interesting. He will always defend free speech. Here is Rob Flaherty, who is the White House Director of Digital Strategy, speaking on Capitol Hill yesterday. I didn't know if I'd be able to find a place in the show for this today. But in the aftermath of Joe Biden saying he will always defend free speech, it seems like a pretty salient time to play this cut from Rob Flaherty, again, the White House Director of Digital Strategy on Capitol Hill yesterday, talking about what the White House did with social media companies when people protested mandatory vaccines, mandatory masking, booster shots, and all that. Remember, this comes from the guy who heads the digital strategy at the White House under the president who just told you he will always defend free speech.
Per second. They decide what content gets shown to whom and in what order. My office encouraged those companies to exercise that editorial discretion to avoid spreading inaccurate information, particularly related to the ongoing pandemic.
We encourage social media companies to step in and stop free speech. But now, Joe Biden says he's the guy who will always defend free speech. Okay. So there you heard the president. This will, I assume, embolden protesters where they have been allowed to be emboldened. And that's an important distinction because not everywhere have they been allowed to be emboldened. And thankfully, they have not been allowed to be emboldened here in Columbus on the Ohio State campus. They had a protest last night at Ohio State. It had more people attend it, according to observers, than the protest last Thursday where 36 people were arrested. So more people, but no one arrested last night. Now, there can be two reasons for that. First reason would be Ohio State President Ted Carter caved and allowed the protesters to do whatever they wanted. Or the other scenario is that the protesters realized they weren't going to be able to get away with their nonsense with Ted Carter stewarding the safety of campus, and they just left on their own. I'm happy to tell you, very happy because it makes me laugh, that the protesters who gathered on the South Oval last night voluntarily and slowly began dispersing around 9 p.m., according to the Columbus Dispatch, and the demonstration ended before 10 p.m., and here's the important part. The time when police began a mass arrest last Thursday to clear the demonstrators. Oh, you mean actions have consequences? Yes, they do, under Ted Carter's leadership. Protests began at 6 o'clock. Ohio Union moved to the South Oval, 700 people, and then it just ended. There was no attempt report eyewitnesses, to reestablish the tent encampment that was there last Thursday at the anti-Israel protest. No incidents, no arrests. At one point, organizers, I gotta save the best part for the next segment. I gotta save the next part. I hate to do this to you. I know teasing the audience is a radio thing. I'm not trying to tease you. I just don't have time to get into it with the music playing, but rest assured we will get back into it, and you will see what a great president Ohio State has hired. That's next on a Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show.
This afternoon, a blend of
Oh.
87, partly cloudy tonight.
Good grief, Colonel Ted. You might be the best president Ohio State has had since,
Tomorrow at 83.
well,
Clouds are not as warm. Scattered thunderstorms on Saturday.
since before I
At 74.
went there and got a degree.
Shower on Sunday, the high 76.
Harold Anderson was okay, and then he was replaced by Foster Brooks, Ed Jennings, who
The answer.
showed up drunk at an Ohio State Michigan party. Like the late 80s or early 90s. I witnessed it myself. A lot of people from Michigan witnessed it. Let's see, who did we have next? Who after President Jennings? Was Gee after Jennings? I don't remember. Then we had Karen Holbrook, who tried to end tailgating. Well, that was really smart. We had Michael Drake, who now out of the blue says, I didn't want Urban Meyer fired. Well, I would hope you didn't want Urban Meyer fired, because if you're the president of Ohio State and you didn't get fired, that would show you had no authority.
I like being active. I like working
Dope.
in the yard. I like playing golf. I like being.
And then we had turkey-necked Christina Johnson, who thought it'd be a great idea to try to take on Lex Wexner, who's built a huge mammoth 24-story hospital right along 315. I think I'll take him on. How'd that work out for you, Christina?
Specialist in advanced regenerative medicine.
And, of course, Dr. Gordon Gee. Mr. Blocko on his gray pants, and always a great quote. And he's still the president at West Virginia.
Here's how it works.
So, all that.
Draws the natural healing agents from your body.
But now we got Ted Carter, Top Gun Ted, and he's doing a great job. And I'll be able to demonstrate how great a job he's doing here momentarily. So just hang with me. We're in commercial.
At 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Get it. Credit card payments, home loans. No assessment gets caught when you enter the $18,000 Get Caught Up sweepstakes. The grand prize winner gets up to $10,000 in debt relief. 3 first prize winners will get up to $1,000 in debt relief, and 10 second prize winners will get $500 in debt relief. That's $18,000 total, and that could be you.
Enter the Get Caught Up sweepstakes at 9890answer.com.
Planning for retirement is no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2 to Retire Ready Ohio with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. The firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
This is Dennis Prager. Now you can listen to my show when it's convenient for you and without censorship from big tech. Become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Unlimited. Listen to every radio show over the last 10 years, all commercial-free. You can even listen to all my Torah teachings for free. Join today and save 25% off the first year and get a free Pragertopia coffee mug. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
Almost 6 million people in the U.S. are living with atrial fibrillation, or AFib, an irregular heartbeat that can put you at 5 times greater risk for a stroke, the 5th leading cause of death in the U.S. National Stroke Association and Mended Hearts have developed Beating Your Odds, an online game that makes it easy for you to learn about AFib. Earn virtual rewards as you play. Visit stroke.org/beatingyourodds to play today. Being informed saves lives.
MyPillow.com products on sale at a rate I've never seen before, a $25 sale. Usually it's a $25 off sale or a buy one, get one free sale, something of that sort, or a free gift if you order X number of pillows or whatever. But not this time. It's a $25 sale, and that means most of the items are priced at $25. No, they're not selling out to the bare walls. Well, they kind of are because the demand is off the chart. Not just because of the price, but because of the quality of the products. Mike Lindell started MyPillow as a one-product company. I've seen Shark Tank investors say, it's not a company, it's a product. Well, Mike Lindell had a product, and now it's a company because he sells towel sets, and he sells mattress toppers, and he sells mattresses, and he sells bathrobes, and he sells slippers and slides. Why? Because of the success of that one original product, the MyPillow. But for you, right now, most of them are all priced at $25 each. And if you order 3 and total a $75 or more order, the shipping is free. Check it out, MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce. So, President prepared statement came out at the White House this morning, Joe Biden, and the old boy did a pretty good job reading the teleprompter. They apparently got the medication right from the State of the Union address, where he was angry and wild-eyed. This time he seemed pretty measured. Of course, once he gets his Wheatina in him in the morning, and maybe his Ovaltine, and he's a happy camper, and he can come out and talk. He was 38 minutes late, but I'll give him credit, the spirit of his comments, other than where he always has to include Islamophobia when he's talking about anti-Semitism. Have we seen Islamophobic protests on college campuses all across the country? Is that why they're rioting at UCLA, which, by the way, finally invited the cops in last night, and the LAPD broke it up? And it's nothing but a mess on the UCLA campus right now. They'll fit right in the Big Ten next year, as I said, with places like Wisconsin and Indiana and Northwestern, where at Northwestern, the students made demands of the school president, and the school president has like a commission to deal with student demands on other things. The president gave in to the student demands without ever consulting the committee of, I think it's 8 people who were supposed to meet with the students, and all 8 of them have resigned. One of the demands that the Northwestern president, and Northwestern always likes to stick its nose in the air as it's the most, academically prestigious school in the Big Ten. And it might be. It might be. Because you know how I know it might be the most academically prestigious school in the Big Ten? Because academically prestigious now means you're the most detached from reality. So they proved their detachment from reality by the president of Northwestern acquiescing to student demands to have a Muslim-only students' dormitory. A Muslim-only students' dormitory. How much consideration do you think Christians would get if they went to Northwestern? Well, first of all, hopefully there aren't any Christians at Northwestern because they're being bombarded by satanic influence every day if they are. But if they went in and said, we would like a Christian-only dorm, how much consideration do you think they would give to that at Northwestern? Exactly 0. But thankfully, we don't have a nut job in charge at Ohio State. We have Ted Carter in charge at Ohio State. Top Gun Ted, Colonel Ted. I like Ted a lot. Never met Ted. But Ted's doing a great job. You know how I know? Because last night they had a big protest at Ohio State, bigger than last Thursday when 36 people were arrested. This time there was no one arrested. Not because Ted caved, but because the protesters caved. They voluntarily dispersed. Can anyone figure out why? I can figure out why. Because Ted, like a good parent, and these are children who have been poorly parented, non-existent parenting on these knuckleheads who embrace Hamas, embrace terrorism, and embrace bloodthirsty genocide. On the George Washington University campus, they have put a Hamas scarf on George Washington, the father of our country, and this is allowed to stand. My guess is it would not stand at Ohio State. The organizers of the event last night, near the time police made arrests on Thursday, so we're getting close to the witching hour, right? And all these nervous Nellies, all these staunch Hamas supporters, their commitment to the cause runs so deep that they looked at their Apple Watches and they said, hey, hey, watch out, man. It's like 9:50 p.m. and the cops started arresting people last week at 10 o'clock. We better get out of here and get to Starbucks. No Starbucks, no peace, by the way. So the organizers of the event began to tell people to stop chanting and return to their homes. This according to the Columbus Dispatch. At 10 o'clock, the Oval began to empty. Now, the Dispatch, always looking for a thing they can capitalize on, reports this. The only sign of confrontation between protesters and police was when protesters gathered around some OSU bicycle officers close to the rear of the demonstration and asked them to move away so there was more room for protesters. The next sentence is priceless. The officers did not move. Within the first 30 minutes of the protest, bike police and protesters, after the protesters asked bicycle police to move from where they were, which was right up against the circle at the back of the protest, after the police refused to move, the protesters eventually moved their circle away from police. Well, what do you know? When you don't show weakness, the knuckleheads obey. When you show you're prepared, and they were prepared, they locked up the Ohio Union. You had to get in with a faculty ID only and other buildings in the area. And this is so beautiful, man. This is so beautiful. There's always nut job professors around, though. Here's an English professor named Jill Galvin. She says this: the students are aware of Palestine and are horrified. Hey, Jill, are they aware of October 7th? Would any of your female protesters, since we're going to ship, apparently, Biden administration is going to ship Palestinians, Gazans, refugees over here to the U.S. Jill, if your like-minded idiots are aware of Palestine and are horrified, are they horrified enough to volunteer to go to Gaza and take the place of a Gazan refugee so they can come over here? I mean, if you're on site, you could really fight the good fight, Jill. Would you like to go over there? I've got an idea. Would you like to send any of your queer protesters over there or your LGBTQ protesters over there so they could fight the good fight? I mean, you know, before Hamas figures out their corrupt, perverted sexuality and tosses them off the top of a building. Would you like to go over there? I mean, that's how you could really show us you're committed to the cause, Jill. Back with the Dispatch, they say that President Carter sent out a stern email Monday. Not just an email, but a stern email. Here's what the email said. I've told you before, I love it. I love it, Ted. He says, sadly, in recent days, I've watched significant safety issues be created by encampments on other campuses across our nation. These situations have caused in-person learning and commencement ceremonies to be canceled. Yes, at USC and Columbia. Ted's email says, Ohio State's campus will not be overtaken in this manner. That's what you call flying a precision mission over the enemy and dropping truth bombs on them so that they're too scared at 10 o'clock. Well, it's been fun. It's been so much fun out here fighting the good fight for Gaza. But you know what? It's really getting late. And I see those police over there. I see those buses ready to transport me downtown. Even though I know nothing will happen to me because City Attorney Zach Klein came out yesterday and essentially said that. We'll share that with you next.
With SRN News.
Joe Biden is speaking.
It's the right to free speech and for people to peacefully assemble and make their voices heard. The second is the rule of law. Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But, neither are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking, and freedom-loving nation. In moments like this, there are always those who rush and to score political points. But this isn't a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity. So let me be clear. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest. Threatening people, intimidating people, instilling fear in people is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Dissent is essential to democracy, but dissent must never lead to disorder or to denying the rights of others so students can finish the semester and their college education. Look, education.
FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agent.
Students can finish the semester and their college education. Look.
Today, you'll owe even more tomorrow, and it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Josh Fick with the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show. The thing that I hear most often in meetings is, what do I do when it seems like stocks and bonds are getting crushed? Rates at the bank are abysmal, and inflation is at 40-year highs. Well, you're not alone, and there are better options. Did you know that you can lock in darn near double-digit returns in a positive market while simultaneously accepting zero downside risk? Learn more about ideas like this and many other ways to improve your financial situation by listening to the Aptus Retirement Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
He knows firsthand what it's like to live in communism. That's why he'll boldly tell you that America truly is the shining city on the hill. He's Sebastian Gorka, and he's on America First, weekday afternoons from 3 to 5 on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
I got home yesterday, and I had a present waiting for me in my garage. Yes, it was my monthly shipment of Riverbend Ranch steaks. Now, you say, wait a second. It was a hot day yesterday, Bruce. Didn't your steaks thaw in the heat of your garage? No, because they are flash frozen after they are perfectly dry aged. And they were still frozen when I got home. I think they'd been there like 4 hours after I got the notification. They packed in dry ice. They're perfect. You never have to worry about that. Riverbend Ranch steaks are phenomenal. 4 filet mignons. Got 5 pounds of ground beef, a couple New York strips, and a couple ribeyes. And I paid less than you'll pay at your local grocery. And you know what I don't have to worry about? I don't have to worry about, A, getting dairy cattle that have been, masquerading because they're no longer useful as dairy cattle, made into ground beef. I don't have to worry about any of the listeria. What did I see? Like 16 tons of meat recalled from Walmart? Man, why are you eating inferior beef when you could go to riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley and get a bundle shipped to your house every month or every other month? Do it. Check it out. Find out more. riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. So Megyn Kelly has a very interesting theory on the protests around the country on college campuses. It may not sound politically correct, but that doesn't mean that it isn't correct. Listen to Megyn Kelly and see if you go, yeah, girl's got a point.
I think attractive, smart people are not drawn to this nonsense. They're living their lives being successful. It's the unattractive and or dumb people who feel the need to do this to feel like they matter. Sorry, hard truth.
Yes. Yes, sorry, hard truth. She's right. I mean, they cover themselves up with masks. They look so unhappy. You know what else I noticed? Don't they all look zombified, robotic, trans-like? And I don't mean like, trans, fake men, fake women. I mean like they're in a trance. It was interesting yesterday. I had the audio. Here we go. This is a guy on Fox. He does the Big Money Show on Fox. When I talk about the protesters being, and I'm going to go back to Megyn Kelly's point because there's an editorial in the Dispatch today, which I can't believe they published it, from a young man by the name of David Jordan. He's a student at Ohio State. He's writing about the protests at Ohio State. And I get all the way to the end of the story, and I look, and there's a picture of David Jordan. He's a really good-looking kid. He's not a protester. He's calling out the protesters for their woke nonsense. But listen to this from this Fox reporter who goes up to Columbia and he tries to engage. Tell me these protesters haven't been coached on what to say in response to these questions, right? They all feel this unfairness, this injustice in Gaza. They all feel it on such a deep level, right? They're just so individually taking affront at what's going on in Gaza. They can all speak eloquently about it, right? Not so much.
So you don't have to be media trained.
Look, nobody is actually unsafe, regardless of what anyone says they feel like.
Could you just tell me more about what you're asking for?
I'm not a spokesperson for the movement, but...
No, I don't need a spokesperson. I'm just, because you're just out here. It's okay. You don't have to be media trained. Almost nobody ever wants to talk about October 7th at these things. I'll ask about October 7th.
I mean, this is a very complicated and nuanced issue.
If you want to talk to someone, you can talk to someone who's been trained to talk to them.
I'm just curious about the divestiture calls.
I can't help you. You can speak to the media liaison. We're angered by our government's support for a foreign ethnic cleansing and genocide. And, yeah, that's going to set some people off.
We're just not media trained. I'm sorry. You'll have to talk to somebody who's media trained. I'm not media trained. I'm just a useful idiot, basically. David Jordan, guest columnist, not a useful idiot. He's a fourth-year senior at Ohio State. And he's graduating. Oh, look at this. Megyn Kelly says all the people who are not protesting are good-looking and smart and living their lives. Look at David Jordan's bio. Fourth-year senior at Ohio State. He's graduating summa cum laude this spring with a Bachelor of Arts in Public Management, Leadership, and Policy, Politics, and Economics. Oh, David Jordan living his life. And he's observed what's going on the Ohio State campus, and what he writes is common mischaracterization of the events of last Thursday. He said, I speak for the silent majority of students who understand and support the university and law enforcement response. He cites a recent Dispatch editorial from one of the nutty woke professors, Judson Jeffries, who writes that, quote, as a supposed world-class university, the guy who works for Ohio State calls it a supposed world-class university. Can't touch him, though. He's probably got tenure. He says, we want our students to become thinkers. We want them to have a voice on matters of significance, especially those that have life and death consequences. Oh, life and death. And David Jordan goes on to say, Jeffries is correct that we ought to be capable of thinking critically about issues of global importance. But then David Jeffries does a little dive into, or David Jordan rather, does a little dive into history. And he points out protests in the past, instances of civil disobedience, the Montgomery bus boycott, lunchroom sit-ins, and the civil rights movement. He says, in each of those cases, activists were under no illusion that their activism would have consequences. though they objected to the injustice of the law they were violating, they accepted the consequences of that violation as part and parcel with their conduct. And then David Jordan notes, what we've seen on our campus over the last few days is something quite different. Yes, we saw activists, nutcases, ill-informed, ignorant fools, and idiots get arrested and go downtown and do what? Suffer the consequences of their actions? No. Demand the charges be dropped. Demand they be dropped. Now, will they be dropped? Of course they will be dropped. You know how I know they will be dropped? Because yesterday, City Attorney Zach Klein, who wants to be the next mayor of Columbus, when hefty Andy Ginther just gives up the pretense and becomes a full-time, all-day golfer at OSU Scarlet. Zach Klein can't stand the little bit of heat he's getting from people wanting to know, are you going to actually charge these protesters? So Zach Klein has to come out in his best Gavin Newsom hair gel and give us a lecture in leftism. And what's the most important lecture in leftism? Win on language. Speak, but say effectively nothing. Are you going to answer him? Are you going to answer him? Oh, okay. Answer coming. Yeah, you didn't answer it. How we can wiggle out. Because it's worked before. Here, lecture us again. Oh, yeah. Sure it is. Oh, North Star. I bet you will. I bet you will let us know. See, he's here to answer questions. Did he answer them? No, of course not. That's okay. I'll answer it for you. So they're checking the video. They're looking at the video. Let's see. The best indication of what's going to happen is what has happened. Can anybody think of an instance where there's been video that Zach Klein and his woke band of fools could sit around and look at on the taxpayer dole and then not prosecute despite seeing obvious crimes on said video? Oh, wait, I have my hand up. George Floyd riots, summer of 2020, Congressman Joyce Beatty hitting a Columbus police officer, captured on videotape. Was she charged? Is that on her record? Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no, it isn't, because she wasn't charged. So if you're not going to charge Joyce Beatty, Zach Klein, because you're a scared rabbit who wants to be mayor, and you can't have that on your record, filing a justifiable charge against a black congresswoman who does nothing for the people of her district in Linden or the Hilltop or anywhere else, what are the chances you're going to prosecute any of these protesters who probably have super wealthy parents from Upper Arlington and Clintonville and other points around the country who would not look kindly upon you besmirching the record of their little social justice warrior? We got way too many Zach Kleins and way too few David Jordans in our midst. That's why we are in a battle for the future of our country, as President Trump said this morning.
Afternoon, a blend of sunny clouds, a warm one, high 87. Partly cloudy tonight, low 62. Clouds remaining warm, a thunderstorm beginning late morning tomorrow. High tomorrow at 83. Clouds are not as warm, scattered thunderstorms on Saturday, the high at 74. Clouds, a thunder shower on Sunday, the high 76. Showers on Monday morning, followed by rain, thunderstorm for the afternoon. On Monday, 75. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
It's getting harder and harder to make sense out of today's headlines. To stay on top of breaking world and national news with a Christian worldview and a faith-based perspective on what it means, turn to ChristianHeadlines.com. Log on to ChristianHeadlines.com for the very latest news, and then sign up for our free daily newsletter to stay one step ahead of what's happening. Get out of the mainstream media rut with top news and positive headlines every day with ChristianHeadlines.com.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. I talked to you about how horrible nutrition has become for people in our ultra-processed food society. Truth is, it's even worse for our beloved dogs. Seen dog food lately, it's more like dead food. Mr. Briggs is our best friend, and the more adventurous we are, I've realized that food is the most important thing ensuring he's healthy. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has invested everything into bringing our dogs food to life. He created Rough Greens, not dog food. It's a natural supplement to your dog's existing food. Full of essential vitamins and minerals and made right here in America. You don't have to change your dog's food. Just adding Rough Greens to their existing diet will be the best decision you ever made to improve their life. Mr. Briggs has more energy, plays longer, and is overall the best version of himself. Dr. Black is so confident that this will change your dog's life, he is providing a free Jumpstart trial bag so your dog can try it. You just cover the shipping. Head to roughgreens.com/Kirk. That is RUFFgreens.com/Kirk. Go to roughgreens.com/Kirk to grab yours today. Roughgreens.com/Kirk.
There are thousands of colleges that offer a quality education, but at Ohio Christian University, we also care about your financial future. Our Payback Promise is a loan repayment assistance program at no cost to you and is the safety net you need to take the next step confidently. Don't let your financial concerns about pursuing your dream to attend college hold you back. Visit ohiochristian.edu/payback to learn more. That's ohiochristian.edu/payback. The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
We're in commercial. Sorry, I meant to put up the lower third.
Anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten. Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Is your life affected by someone else's gambling? If your answer is yes, or you have more questions, Gam-Anon is there for you. Gam-Anon helps family members, friends, and those affected by a compulsive gambler find answers and strategies for dealing with the finances, debts, and strained relationships caused by gambling. Visit gam-anon.org for the national meeting list. Come to a meeting whether or not the gambler in your life seeks help or even recognizes that there is a gambling problem. For more information, go to gam-anon.org.
Well, I had a great afternoon yesterday until I got stuck in horrific traffic trying to get from Delaware to Plain City around 4 o'clock. That's a big no-no. But shout out to Dana and shout out to Joyce and Bill. They're customers of mine in my flooring endeavors. And you can do the same by going to brucehooley.com, filling out the information. I'll see Joanne this afternoon. She's looking for new flooring. I'd love to contact you, whether it's about flooring or whether it's about patriotswitch.com/Bruce products. Love patriotswitch.com. You'll love the products too. First of the month, we get our shipment. We get our things we need for personal care, mouthwash, toothpaste, laundry detergent, countertop cleaners. All natural products made from plants. Companies never paid a product liability settlement. A lot of our children's skin issues cleared up when we switched to plant-based products. I'm not a greenie. I'm not an environmentalist. But I am for patronizing companies that take market share away from woke companies. That's what patriotswitch.com does with products made right here in America. Check it out, brucehooley.com or patriotswitch.com/Bruce. Joe Biden came out, pumped up on Red Bull, Mountain Dew, Skittles, who knows what. Maybe Jolt. Is Jolt Cola still around? I'm sure if it is, President Biden could get his hands on a 2-liter bottle. He was 38 minutes late this morning, but the old boy did come out and address campus protests, riots, and a riot at UCLA last night because, of course, they won't respect authority. This is all about a complete and total and utter lack of respect for authority. And you have to have the authority. You have to exercise it. Ted Carter at Ohio State has it. and he has exercised it. And last night at Ohio State, they had a protest, had more people than last Thursday, and then at 10 o'clock they all just voluntarily dispersed. Why? Because they're scared of getting arrested, because he set the expectation and he followed through on the expectation. Here's Mitch Daniels. Mitch Daniels, former governor of the state of Indiana, but Mitch Daniels was also former president at Purdue University, and he had an interesting perspective on what we see Ted Carter doing and what we don't see presidents at UCLA, Columbia, NYU, and other campuses doing.
And I think it was a big mistake for those schools that chose that path. Laying down very clear rules and then enforcing them fairly but promptly is, I think, the fairest to the majority, as we just discussed. And it's the best way to minimize the chance of recurrence.
It's really not any different than parenting. And a lot of the problems that we see around the country are because kids who are doing this have been horrifically parented. Horrifically parented. Donald Trump today appeared in court in New York. He's in court right now. And I have before talked about how Trump needs to take advantage of these situations in court. Is it a coincidence that Trump has been banging on Joe Biden for not coming out and speaking about the campus riots, that yesterday in the Senate, Tom Cotton and other Republican senators were banging on Joe Biden for his inaction, for his inactivity? I mean, if you listened yesterday to a question to Karine Jean-Pierre and her response, does it sound here like there was an imminent appearance by Joe Biden coming? Or does the fact that Biden came out today indicate that he was smoked out of his fraidy cat hole by Donald Trump, by Republican senators? Because here's what the question was to Karine Jean identity hire yesterday, and her response. You tell me, does it sound like, oh, wait, tomorrow the president's coming out? Does it sound like she's expecting that or promising that?
Some dramatic images really across the country over the last 24, 48 hours, especially from the Columbia, UCLA last night, University of Madison, Wisconsin, other campuses. Has the president been monitoring this? Why have we not heard directly from the president about these protests that have came over institutions of higher learning across the country, the police responses, instances of violence? Why have we not heard directly from the president?
So just a couple of things. The president is being kept regularly updated on what's happening. As you just stated, across the country, he is monitoring the situation closely. So is his team. And I would just add that no president has spoken more forcefully about combating anti-Semitism than this president.
Really? As of yesterday afternoon, no president has ever spoken more forcefully about anti-Semitism? First of all, it's an indictment of Joe Biden that he and his team have been monitoring this, and it's taken him 10 days to say anything about it. His comments today were fine. There was nothing wrong with his comments. They were just late. And as for her statement that no president has ever spoken more forcefully against anti-Semitism, can anybody tell me a president in our lifetimes who has had more evidence in the country of open anti-Semitism than Joe Biden? Was this a problem under Donald Trump? Was this a problem under Barack Obama? Was this a problem under George W. Bush or George H.W. Bush or Bill Clinton or John F. Kennedy or Lyndon Johnson or Richard Nixon or Gerald Ford or Ronald Reagan or Jimmy Carter? Was it a problem then? The open anti-Semitism that we see on college campuses, to the degree we've seen it in the last 2 weeks, was it a problem? So no, you don't get bonus points or brownie points or a chocolate chip ice cream cone for avoiding the topic for 10 days and then you ridiculously claiming that he's spoken more forcefully. He's had to speak more forcefully because nobody else has had this problem. You idiot. Now back to Trump today. And again, there's no doubt in my mind that Trump's comments and the Republican senators' comments about what's gone on is right on point, and really is what forced Joe Biden to come out today. Here's Donald Trump in one of the things he had to say before entering a New York courtroom this morning.
Just quickly on the colleges and universities, it's a shame. I'm so proud of the New York's finest. They're great people too. I know so many of them. They're incredible. They did a job at Columbia, and likewise in Los Angeles, they did a really good job at UCLA. It was very much embedded. And just so you understand, this is the radical left. This is a movement from the left, not from the right. The right is not your problem, despite what law enforcement likes to say. The FBI director said that he worries about the right. Now, don't worry about the right. The right's fine. Worry about the left, because this is a movement from the left. These are radical left lunatics. And they got to be stopped now, because it's going to go on, and it's going to get worse and worse. And, you know, they take over countries, okay? And we're not letting them take over the USA. We're not letting the radical left morons take over this country. You can't let that happen.
Sounded a little bit like New York Mayor Eric Adams there yesterday. Yeah, when you're raising flags for terrorist organizations that in their charter say they want to eradicate Jews from the planet, when your American students are so ill-informed, so entitled, so poorly parented, so horrifically misled by their faculty members, and by, yes, a few outside agitators, that they are raising and attempting to raise flags from terrorist organizations on your campus, things have gone horribly wrong, and they have gone horribly wrong under the watch of this president, who is doing it unquestionably because he wants to be your president for 4 more years. We'll have other people who share that perspective with me after we talk with Matt Mayer of Opportunity, Ohio at the top of the hour. Oh, wait! Before we adjourn to Matt, we have to let you know that the Columbus Dispatch has noted that Republicans, and specifically Ohio Senate candidate Bernie Moreno, have been bringing up Sherrod Brown's 98.5% support of Joe Biden, and there's a basic Republicans pounce headline in the Dispatch today. Republicans use campus protests as new line of attack against Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown. Yeah, maybe because Sherrod Brown won't do what Biden didn't do until this morning, condemn the protests.
Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got.
All right, that was a quick hour, really quick hour. Always fun, always fun having you guys with me. Wow, good number of people watching. Appreciate that. Hey, I'm not kidding about the Riverbend Ranch steaks. They're super good. You gotta try them. You're not locked in for a year or whatever. Order them for a month. If you don't agree with me that the beef just tastes different, because it's bred for the marbling specifications that are genetically predicted by the lineage of the Black Angus beef. It's all Black Angus. No hormones, no antibiotics, really good stuff. RiverbendRanchSteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. It's the only way you can get it. RiverbendRanchSteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. And go to BruceHooley.com if you're interested in flooring in Central Ohio. We do about a 75-mile radius around Columbus. PatriotSwitch.com products are also awesome. I don't sell anything I don't use. I don't sell anything for anybody that I don't recommend. So, with that, we'll be back tomorrow, Friday. Who knows what will happen, but appreciate you guys hanging with me. Hope you have a good day. Shout out to LinkedIn people, and see you then.